Okay, hello Pflugervillians. This is Sherry Hindmarsh with RE/MAX Capital City, and I am here today with Steve Dudley with Dudley's Home Inspections, and we're going to talk about how to get one, why to get one, and what to do with it when you get it. So I have a few questions for you. Basically, how did you get into the business?
I got into the business essentially, my dad was a builder, amongst other things. Got into it essentially at an early age, being around building science, home building. Avoided it for the longest time, but eventually realized that it was my calling, and about 8 years ago, frankly, went to school, got my license through Texas Real Estate Commission, and I've been doing home inspections ever since.
So you mentioned Texas Real Estate Commission. I was going to ask you that. So who is your governing agency? Is TREC?
It is TREC. We have a standards of practice that you would be able to find actually on the TREC website under Home Inspectors, and essentially is our Bible or operating platform.
Okay.
And what we inspect and do.
Okay, so one question I have for you is, do you only do inspections on resale homes, like when someone's buying a pre-owned home?
No, inspections are pretty much unlimited. New builds, selling for listings,
to make sure your home is in good condition when you list it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or if you just want to know the state of your property, you can always have a home inspector come in.
Always a good thing to know. Sure. And he has levels of inspections that you can do. Like, you probably want the more in-depth, full thing when you're buying a home. But if you're doing it just for your own information, you can do it without all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bells and whistles kind of guy.
Yeah, you're going to get the
so
pictures.
You're going to get the full. You're going to get the full shebang.
Okay, and then what do homeowners need to do to prepare for your inspection?
Two big things: accessibility to things like panel covers, plumbing under sinks, attic accesses, etc. And of course, we always want the utilities to be on. Kind of hard to check a sink when there's no water in it.
I bet that's true. And so what all does the inspection cover?
Inspection, generally speaking, covers electrical, plumbing, structural, and mechanical. Mechanical would include things like the operations of ACs, appliances in your kitchen. Structural would fall under the category of foundation, framing of the attic, etc. Plumbing, obviously, is pretty self-explanatory, cycling through sinks, checking out drains for any kind of leaks. And electrical, popping covers off of main and sub panels, looking for proper wiring by today's standards, and also too checking out outlets, switches, making sure they're functional, etc.
That's a lot.
It is.
What don't you cover?
A few things we don't cover, per TREC standards, of course, are fencing, sidewalks, driveways, water softeners. I'll look and see if it's leaking, but other than that, we're just making sure that there's no leaks or anything on that. Refrigeration, obviously, and things that are called used equipment, which essentially would be anything that a homeowner would buy at a store like Home Depot, install it at their house, and like the switches for alarms or things of that nature. Again, alarms, cable, anything coax or anything like that, we're really not looking at that. It's structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing.
Okay. Well, I have been working with you for a lot of years.
Yes.
And I work with Steve because he's very thorough and very good. But that can be a little frightening if you're a buyer buying a home, because per TREC guidelines, you have to cover a lot of territory. You have to make note of everything, even code changes that don't really pertain to the house, the year the house was built. So what is your words of wisdom to a buyer when they get a printout and it maybe has a lot on it?
Especially on houses of age, meaning anything 10 years or older, expect a lot. And what I mean by that is the standards change every 3 years, or they add on to an existing set of standards, I should say. And that's based on code, International Residential Building Code. Not that I'm a code inspector and I'm here doing a code inspection, but our standards of practice is based very heavily off that code.
Okay.
So essentially, yes, it's a living, breathing thing. So things change, and it's always the inspection I do is for that snapshot, that picture in time that I'm there. I'm not a guarantor of the property after I leave. Essentially, we're going through everything, and I'm very detail oriented, as Sherry said, and so if there's 25 door details, there's going to be things in the report. It's going to make the report more lengthy. When you start getting into houses of age, obviously there's more wear and tear. The standards have changed more than on a brand new house. But even on a brand new house, I'll find 15 details on average on a brand new build.
Speaking of brand new, you can get an inspection on a new home, even if you're buying directly from the builder. And I always recommend it. As a matter of fact, I usually pay for it for my clients. So it's a good thing to have. Well, what sets you apart from other inspectors?
Well, I like to say it's because I'm a steely-eyed missile man. And the reason why is because in the Navy, I was worked on fueling systems, learned an eye for detail, very thorough. You either did it right or you definitely went home, per se. So I've got that ingrained in my personality, and I am curious, so I do want to know more. I use infrared technology in all my home inspections, which I would say most inspectors do not use that. That technology is very useful in seeing things that aren't necessarily visible to the naked eye. Resistance in electrical details, overheating, ductwork problems, moisture intrusion, which is huge.
Moisture intrusion. I had a client that bought a new home, and Steve was able to see that there was moisture in the wall during the inspection and found a leak before she closed. So
sure did. I'm also a licensed home inspector that carries a master home inspector endorsement, which I think there might be 5 or 6 of us here in the Austin area that actually carry that endorsement. Most of that is ethics agreements, and then of course you have to have a whole lot of education and enough inspections under your belt in order to achieve that. Also, too, currently I am a licensed mold consultant, so I can do things, mold-related activities as far as testing, indoor air quality test, mold sampling of visible mold. So yeah, most inspectors do not carry those additional licenses or use that technology in their
so they
home
can
inspection.
feel very confident that you've
I would hope
gone
so.
above and beyond,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 8 years and I've only been yelled at once, so and it was by you, I believe. I'm just kidding.
That might be true. Okay, anyway, if you need an inspection, he's your guy. And I do have one question. What's the funniest thing that's happened on an inspection?
Funniest thing that's happened on a home inspection would probably be, oh wow, catching me by surprise. There's been so many. I was doing an inspection one time and set a ladder up on a roof, and essentially when I was on the back side, I guess the kids had gotten let off from the school bus out in this remote location out in Liberty Hill, and I looked up and saw a kid on the roof. Old enough to know better, but still too young to care. He was a teenager.
Fun.
But still, that was pretty funny after I ran him off the roof, essentially.
That is funny. Well, your information will be at the end of this video. Please, if you need an inspection, give him a call. And that's all I have today. Pflugervillians, have a good day.